Hello students, today I'm going to start a new chapter, decimals. Before starting this decimal numbers, I want to explain some point related to this decimal. Some basic point like a decimal fraction. Decimal fraction. Decimal fraction, a fraction whose denominator is any power of 10. Okay, for example, 7 upon 10, 49 upon 100, 135 upon 1000, and so on, etc. Means that a fraction whose denominator is any power of 10. 10 means that it is a 10 to the power 1, means that 10. 100 means 10 to the power 2. 1000 means 10 to the power 3, and so on, like 10 to the power 4, 10 to the power 5. So if you get a denominator who's a multiple of 10, ten, 100, 1000, 10,000, that type of a fraction is known as a decimal fraction. And so very important, next point is the decimal numbers. Decimal number. So before starting this decimal fraction is important. A fraction whose denominator is any power of 10 is known as a decimal fraction. Decimal number is another way of representing decimal fraction. Decimal number is another way of representing decimal fraction. In decimal numbers, the denominator is not written. Denominator is not written, and a point means that like a dot, that is known as a decimal. A point means that decimal is placed in the numerator at an appropriate place. Decimal numbers is another way of representing decimal fraction. In decimal numbers, the denominator is not written and a point like that, decimal is placed in the numerator at an appropriate place. See with example. See this example. Example is 9 upon 10. So this is a decimal fraction. This one in decimal number fraction, denominator is not written, but this denominator is not written and a point is placed in the numerator at an appropriate place. So how you will put this point? So see this one. If there is a 1 0, you will count one number in the numerator from right to left. There is a one number 9. Then after you will put the dot. That dot is known as a point, and this point is known as a decimal point. This point is known as a decimal point. Okay. So, and after that, if before this point, if nothing is there, you will use 0. So what you will get it 0.9. Second example is 49 upon 100. Suppose this one. This is a decimal fraction. So there is 20. You will count two number from the right side and put that points. 49, 1, 2. Then put the decimal or point and then 0. 0.49. And 135 upon 100. So there is a 20. You will count two number from the right side, 1 to right to left. Then put the decimal point. So this is known as a, this point is known as a decimal. Okay, students. And this, if denominator is not written, this numerator change it into a decimal number. So basically, students, decimal number has two parts. Decimal number has two parts. Decimal number, there are two decimal numbers have two parts. Suppose I have taken a decimal number. Hello students, I have taken a decimal number 485.95. So decimal number contain three parts. Okay, contain three parts. This is known as, this is very important, this point is known as a, this point is known as a decimal point. This point is known as a decimal point. Before this decimal, this part is known as a whole part or integral part. That part is known as a integral or whole part. Whole numbers, you can tell that whole parts are integral part. That is known as a integral part. That is known as a integral part. Integral part. And after this decimal, this part is known as a decimal part. This part is known as a decimal part, student. So basically this decimal number consists three parts. This is a decimal point. Before decimal point, that is known as a whole part or integral part, and after this decimal point, it is known as a decimal part. Okay students, so this is very important. You always remember that before decimal, this is known as an integral part. This point is known as a decimal point, and after this decimal point. That number is known as a decimal part. How you will read this decimal number? This integral part you will read according to this, the value of this integral part, like there according to their place value. Here is a ones, tens, hundred. First number before this decimal, first number is a ones place, second is tens, third one is a hundred, fourth one is a thousand, and then 10,000. And after this decimal, first point is known as a, see this one, same number 485.95. If you are moving before this decimal, if you are moving right to left, then this place value is increased 10 times. But if you are moving from right to left, the points decreases, the value decreases 1 upon 10 times. So this value is known as a ones, tens, hundred. This one is known as a ones place, tens place. This one is known as a hundred. But after this decimal, this place is known as a tenths place. Tenths place. Its value means that 9 upon 10. What is the value of this one is? This is known as a hundreds. This is known as a hundreds. It means that is 5 upon 100. Okay, students. And then after thousands, 10,000s. Here is a 100,000, 10,000. Here is a tens after decimal. Tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Okay, students. This is a few basic points related to this decimal number. How you will read this one? So you will read this one, this integral part you will read according to the place value. So 400, 100, 80, 85 point. This decimal you will read it as a point. Then after you will read that the separate digits, the value of the separate digits, that is the 9.95. 95. How you will read this one? 485.95. Okay, students, this is introduction of a decimal. And one more point, important point: decimal comes from a Latin word, decim. Comes from a Latin word, decim. Its meaning is 10. Decimal comes from a Latin word, or derived from a Latin. Decimal is derived from a Latin word, decim. Its meaning is 10. Means if we are moving from right to left, it is 10 times bigger, and if you are moving from left to right, it is decreases the value 1 upon 10. It is a 1 upon 10 times. Okay, students. So if any problem, students, please ask that. And few important point: how to change a fraction into a decimal, and how today we have learned that what is a decimal fraction, what is decimal number, and how to represent a decimal fraction into a decimal numbers. So that decimal number, how you will write in a expanded form. Suppose I have taken a decimal number 6879.685. Integral part you will read according to their place value, and after this decimal point you will read the digit separately, 685. So how you will write in a expanded form? In a expanded form. Students, I told you that one before this decimal, this is known as a ones place, tens place, hundred place, thousand place. Means that if we are moving right to left before this decimal, okay, this is multiplied by 10, 10, 10, 10. Okay, so this is a 9 plus this is a 7 multiplied by 10. Okay, 9 is multiplied by 1. Okay, 7 multiplied by 10 plus 8 multiplied by 10 into 10, 100, and 6 is multiplied by 310, means that 1000. And then after plus point, I'm not going to write it. Okay, 6, what is the place value of 6? 6 is in place of tens. Tens means that 1 upon 10. Here is the 6, 6 upon 10. What is the place value of this 8 after this decimal? This is the hundreds. It means that hundreds means that hundreds means that 1 upon 100. Here is the 8, so 8 upon 100. Here this is the thousands. Thousand means 1 upon 1000. Here is a 5, 5 upon 1000. So this is known as a expanded form of a given decimal. And that is, students, how you will change that decimal of fraction into a decimal number. A fraction into a decimal number. If the fraction is not a fraction with a power of 10 as the denominator, first we convert it into 1. To convert such a fraction into a decimal number, count the number of zeros in the denominator, and then counting from the right of the numerator, place the decimal point after as many digits as the number of zeros in the denominator. So it is very easy. First point is that your first one is a conversion your first point is a conversion of a fraction into decimals. A fraction whose denominator is any power of 10. It is very easy. In that one, first part is if the denominator is any power of 10. So it is very easy to convert it into a decimal. Suppose 49 upon 100, 49 upon 10, suppose. So there is how you will convert it into a decimal. It's very easy. There is a 1 0 in the denominator. You will count one number from the right side and put the points 9, then after point, and then you will write it 4.9. Suppose 185 upon 100. There is a 2 0. You will count two number in the numerator and put the points 1 2 and then put the points. Suppose one more example, 47 upon 1000. Here is the 3 0, but in the numerator only two numbers are there. How you will change it into a decimal? Write this 47. There is a two numbers only. Here is a 3 0. So we want three numbers. So put one more 0. then put the points. You will get it 0.047. Your answer is 0.047. Okay students, suppose it is a 1 upon 100, 1 upon 1000. Here is a 30 and here is a 1 number. How you will convert it into a decimal? Write this one, and then after, how many numbers you needed? 2 more. So 0, 0, and then put the points, and in integral part you will represent with 0. So 0.001. What is the meaning of 1 upon 10? There is a 1 0, so 1 number and then after points. 0.1. 1 upon 100, its meaning is a 0.01. 1 upon 1000 means that 0.0001. Okay students, if the denominator is any power of 10, so it is very easy to convert it into a decimal. Second point is that if denominator is not a power of 10 other than 10. Second one is if denominator, if the fraction is not a fraction with a power of 10, a fraction whose denominator is not a power of 10. Suppose for example 2 upon 5. How you will convert it into a decimal number? So very easy. Your aim is to change this denominator as a multiple of 10. So by which quantity you will multiply this 5? You will get 10, 100 or 1000. Our aim is to change this denominator as a multiple of 10. Any power of 10. 10, 100, 1000, 10,000. So here it is very easy. By multiplying 2 in numerator and denominator. 2 2s are 4 and 5 2s are 10. What you will get it? 4 upon 10, and it is very easy to change it into a decimal. Your answer is 0.4. And suppose one more example, 7 upon 8. So our aim is to change this 7 upon 8 into a decimal number. By which quantity you will multiply this 8? You will get it 100, 1000, 10, 100, 1000, 10,000. So I think in 8 you will multiply with 125. 125. 125 8s are 8 5s are 44, 8 2s are 16, 4 22, 8 1 1000. And by 7 if you multiply this, 7 5s are 35, 3 carry, 7 2s are 14, 3, 7 2s are 14, 3, 17, 1 carry, 7 1s are 7 1, 8, 875. Change this one into a decimal. There is a 30, 3 number you will count it from the right side. So 8 7 5 1 2 3, put the points, and then in integral part nothing is there, you can put the 0 there. 0.875. So by this way, if any number, this is to change this denominator as a multiple of 10. If you are not knowing to change this one, you directly divide this numerator by its denominator. You will get this decimal points by dividing. Like first one, 2 upon 5. So by 5, if you divide this 2 is smaller than 5, then you put this 0, and then after put the points. If you are putting a points, you can increase 1 0 in one time. So 5 4s are 20. Then you will get this 0.4. 0.4. So by dividing you also get that decimal number. Okay students, and the next point is if any mixed fraction is given, so that mixed fraction first you change it into improper, and then after, suppose your mixed fraction is given 4 whole 1 upon 5. So change this one, first you change it into improper. 4 5s are 21, 21 upon 5. So change this one into a multiple of 10 by multiplying 2 in numerator and denominator. 42 upon 10. then you will get it 4.2. That is your answer. So it is very easy. If you use your mind, you can easily do that question. So first, conversion of decimal into a fraction with a power of 10 as the denominator. Second one is, your second rule is to change a decimal number into a fraction. So it is very easy. Decimal number into a fraction. Suppose the number is given 0.35. This is a decimal number. How you will change it into a fraction? Decimal number into a fraction. Very easy. You will write this number only in numerator. 35 upon decimal point. You will suppose 1. And after this decimal, how many numbers you will write that 0 in your denominator? There is 2 numbers. You will write 2 0. So your fraction is 35 upon 100. And if it is cancelled out by any same number, this 35 upon 100, if it is cancelled out by any same number, you will cancel this one. Suppose it is cancelled out by 5. 5 7s are 35. 5 2s are 10. So you get it 7 upon 20. That is also your answer. If you are not cancelled out, this is also correct. But you always, you know that you will write that fraction in a simplest form. Suppose 0.04. I have taken one example. How you will change this one? Write this number 04 means that 4 means that 4 only, no? So write this 4. Point, you will suppose 1, and after points, how many numbers are there? 2 numbers. So you put this 2 0. 4 upon 100, and it is cancelled out by 2. 2 2s are 4. 2 5s are 10. Again it is cancelled out by 2. 2 1s are 2. 2 25. So your answer is 1 upon 25. So first one method is to change a fraction into a decimal. In that there is a 2 when the denominator is a multiple of 10, like a power of 10. Then you will easily change into a decimal. If it is not a multiple of 10, your aim is to change it into a power of 10 or as a multiple of 10. If it is not changing, you will simply divide. You also get the same result. And second method is, second property is change this decimal number into a fraction. So it is also very easy, students. So see this video carefully and make your own concept related to decimals. Okay, in next video I will solve this exercise, some question of your exercise 3A, and you will also try in your home to solve that problem of exercise 3A. Thank you, student.